Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into the Fake Spike Podcast. Just me, because my good buddy T is having all kinds of internet issues tonight. So we hang out with just me. We can't record the podcast like we normally would, so it's going to be right here on this live stream. All right, so don't really want to get too much into what happened this past week because it's week 18, the season's over. Everybody's already looking forward to playoffs or next year. Doesn't really make that big of a difference here. So we're going to start out with my team because that's the first team I wrote down, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had a pretty decent season towards the end there. They have a good defense, but they need more development out of Kenny Pickett and hopefully a new offense coordinator. Matt Canada didn't do terrible towards the end of the season, but I'd still like to see more from that offense because it wasn't exactly spectacular. The defense was holding teams to 16, 17 points a game or less. So we weren't exactly winning with the offense. There were, let's see, what do I got? We'll move on to the Browns. The Browns finished 7-10. Kind of a throwaway season because they didn't have their main quarterback for 11 games. They had to roll with Jacoby Brissett. Then they got Deshaun Watson back, and he was very rusty after not playing for a long time. He seemed over the past couple weeks like he was starting to get it back together again. I don't think he'll ever be what he was when he was on the Texans that last year. He threw away some years of his prime there by sitting with the Texans and then having this lengthy suspension. The Browns did fire their defensive coordinator, and they requested an interview from Pittsburgh's linebacker coach, Brian Flores. Flores did pretty damn good with the Dolphins. There were some issues there that got him fired. But I think he'd be a good defensive coordinator for them. I think the Steelers will get like a compensation pick if that's the case, if he gets the job. But I believe that won't be until next year. Here, move on to the New York Jets. New York Jets lost 6 games in a row. They had a pretty good start to the season. They were surprising everybody, but they fell off towards the end there. And I'm going to place all of that blame on the quarterback situation. Of course, they didn't have Zach Wilson right at the beginning of their season. He didn't come back until week 4. He had a couple good games, and then he started looking like trash, to say the least. He got benched for Mike White. Mike White looked fantastic compared to Zach Wilson for at least a game, maybe 2. But then he got really messed up, took a nasty spear basically to his ribs, and he had to miss a couple games. And bottom line is the Jets have a good team around them. They just need a quarterback, and I think they could be a pretty solid team. Let's see here. The Patriots. The Patriots finished at 8-9. I don't really know what to say about that team. Like, they didn't have a good season. They didn't have a bad season. I think they need more, key players, I guess. Because what key offensive players do they have? Devontae Parker, Jacoby Myers. They're not exactly all-stars. Ramondre Stevenson was a very good back, but just wasn't enough. Mac Jones doesn't seem like the best leader. He seems like kind of a hothead. I seen a clip of him trying to injure several players. When he throws a pick or something, going for their knees, nasty stuff. I'm not sure if Bill Belichick is going to be there next year. He might retire. He's addicted to football, though, so I doubt he will. it would probably be in his best interest, though, if he wanted to find a new offensive coordinator. Because Matt Patricia, not an offensive coordinator. So here, the Texans. The Texans blew the number 1 overall pick. They won yesterday, as I record this. They won yesterday against the Colts and gave the number 1 pick straight to the Bears. Lovie Smith also got fired. No big surprise there. I'm interested to see if the Bears trade that pick or if they keep it. I doubt they're going to be taking a quarterback. So if they stay in that number 1 pick, who will the Texans take? They'll probably get their picking at the quarterback. I'm thinking C.J. Stroud. Let's see. Titans. The Titans lost 7 in a row to end their season. Like, what the heck happened there? Ryan Tannehill got hurt. I know that much. Josh Dobbs had to play a couple games. That rookie, oh my God, what's the rookie's name? I'm mind blanking hard on the rookie's name right now, but he did not look good when he was in there. Let's see. The Colts finished 4-12-1. Another bad season from them. Frank Reich is fired. He's been gone for months now. Well, at least what feels like months. I think it's been at least 6 weeks or something. Saturday is very unlikely to get that job. I'd be very shocked if they kept him as their head coach. They need some pieces. They need a quarterback for one. They can't be playing this like game of taking a quarterback that another team doesn't want anymore. They need to either trade for a good one or draft one. They need to do something because what they've been doing ain't working. The Broncos finished at 5-12, which is way far below what everybody thought they would be. They thought with Russell Wilson coming in here, they were going to be a great team. Turns out, not so much. Nathaniel Hackett got fired a couple weeks ago. So who knows who their head coach is going to be next year. Hopefully they find a good one. Because I don't know if it was a Nathaniel Hackett problem or a Russ problem that they were off to such a slow start. And I know it wasn't the defense's fault. I can tell you that much. They had a bad game against the Rams, but their defense had a pretty solid season other than that. And the last team that did not make the playoffs for the AFC is the Las Vegas Raiders. Josh McDaniels is probably on the hot seat right now, and I assume he'll get another season. He might not make it the entire season, but I assume he'll probably be the coach through the offseason and training camp, and we'll say at least September and some of October. But after that, he might get fired if the team continues to perform like they have been performing. They benched Derek Carr 2 weeks ago. I don't think Derek Carr was the problem with this team at all. He's not Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or any really solid quarterback, but he's not trash either. I think they did him a little bit dirty. I'm interested to see where he ends up because I guarantee it's not going to be back in Las Vegas. It'll shock me if he is in Las Vegas next year. And the thing about that is Derek Carr has a no-trade clause. So if I was him, I don't think I'd be willing to accept any trade offers that the Raiders get. I think I would make the Raiders cut me and then get to go where I want for free. he's going to get the bag, but the Raiders aren't going to get a first-round pick or something, or they probably won't get a first-round pick, but the Raiders aren't going to get any picks for him, is what I'm saying. So that's another problem that the Raiders have. Next up, we're going to head over to the NFC, and we have the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers has once again hinted at retirement. I think this is like the third season in a row he's done this, and he ends up coming back. Dude, the Packers have they had a decent back half of the season there, but they looked pretty bad there for a while. They got some good wide receivers there, and what's the kid's name? Christian Watson. He's been doing pretty solid. Maybe if Aaron Rodgers comes back and he actually shows up at camp and all that stuff and works with his wide receivers, they'll learn all the hand signals and all that fun jazz, and they can have a better communication and stand together better. And they'll be able to win some games. Because 8-9 for the Packers is not the greatest finish in the past few seasons. So here, then we have the Chicago Bears, who have the number 1 overall pick. I made a TikTok about this today on our TikTok page. Go follow there if you want. They have the number 1 overall pick, so I don't know if they're going to keep that, if they're going to trade it for picks, and if they keep it, what are they going to do with it? I've heard they're going to draft Will Anderson. He's a great edge, but I don't think this team is an edge rusher away from being competitive. Maybe they can trade that pick for another top 10 pick and a good wide receiver, because we've seen over the past few years when a good quarterback that can use his legs and has a decent arm can get a good wide receiver, like Jalen Hurts got A.J. Brown, Josh Allen got Stephon Diggs. If they can get a decent wide receiver and still have a good pick, I think they'd be in pretty good shape. I mean, they tried to do that with Chase Claypool, I guess, but that did not work out very well for them. It worked out pretty well for the Steelers. The Steelers got traded Chase Claypool for what is essentially the 32nd overall pick. So they basically gave up a very late first rounder there for him. And Chase Claypool ain't that good. He had that really good rookie season, and after that, he didn't do too hot. Let's see, the Lions. The Lions had a great finish. They were 8-2 in their last 10 games. They finished the year 9-8. So they got off way too slow of a start there to make any kind of impact on the season. Unfortunately, they didn't make the playoffs. They were really close. Everybody outside of like Packers and Bears and Vikings fans were cheering for the Lions to make the playoffs because that fan base deserves it. I think this is their first winning season since 2001, something crazy like that. And they didn't even make the playoffs. They were a very good indoor team. I know that much. They were a very good team at home, which is indoors, but you get what I'm saying. I think they need a few pieces and they could be really competitive. I like Dan Campbell. I think Dan Campbell's a really good head coach. I would want to play for him if I was a player, but let's see here. Next up, we have the Washington Commanders, who finished 8-1. That's nice, solid 500 record there. I think Ron Rivera might be on the hot seat here. They had a bad start to the season. They were decent in the middle. They were pretty good in the middle, but they're late at the end. They fell off again. So, you know what's kind of funny about that? It seems like it was when Carson Wentz was playing that they were bad. Wonder why that is. Yeah. I think they need a quarterback. Taylor Heineke ain't it. Carson Wentz obviously isn't it either. Terry McLaurin's a good wide receiver. They have some good running backs. Defense isn't bad at all. The offensive line's not terrible. They're a solid team, I think. They're just a quarterback and a few pieces short. They're not quite as good as the Jets. I know they have a better record than the Jets, but on paper, I would much rather my team be the Jets as opposed to the Commanders, just player-wise. Like, obviously, the Commanders don't have a great owner or great team history at this point. Because, Commanders are brand new. They're not the Washington football team or the Washington Redskins anymore. They're the Commanders. So, but no, in all seriousness, decent team. I'd say like I said, they need that quarterback. Next up, we're going to get very mid here because we're going to be discussing the NFC South for the next three teams. Just want to touch on the Buccaneers. I know I said we weren't really going to touch on playoff teams too much, but they were 8-9. Let's not act like they deserve the playoffs. Brady had his first loss to the Falcons. Brady had a losing season for the first time, I think, ever when he started all the games. They weren't very good. The Panthers, they fired Matt Rule months ago, and they had a quarterback carousel going on down there. They need to find some stability there, and I think they could be a solid team. It's interesting to me how they started winning games after they got rid of their best player in Christian McCaffrey, but whatever works, I guess, right? I think they need a quarterback. They need a couple defensive pieces. They need pieces in a lot of places. The Saints, I'd say they probably need a quarterback here. Surprised they didn't use Jameis Winston more throughout the season because Andy Dalton wasn't exactly an all-star here. Andy Dalton's getting to the end of his career here and doesn't look great, man. Doesn't look great. And they were such a weird up and down team too. They had a shutout. They got shut out. It's just a little bit different. You know what I mean? And then the Falcons. Falcons had a very forgettable season, in my opinion. They need help. They need offensive help. They need defensive help. I'm not sure their head coach is exactly it. Like, I really don't have that much to say about the Falcons. They're just kind of there, you know. When it comes to the Los Angeles Rams, Sean McVay hinted at retirement, which he kind of did last year too after winning the Super Bowl. So if he was thinking about it last year after he won the Super Bowl, he must really be thinking about it now that he finished 5-12 and didn't even sniff the playoffs. I don't see him retiring, but it wouldn't exactly shock me if he did, if that makes any sense. Let's see here. And lastly, we have the Arizona Cardinals, who finished 4-13. Their future is looking kind of blurry, I guess. Probably like this live stream. Um, Cliff Kingsbury got fired, and Kyler tore his ACL not that long ago. He had the surgery like a week or two ago, and all right, yeah, he got fired. Yeah, what am I doing? Cliff Kingsbury got fired, and Kyler Murray got his ACL repaired not that long ago. He's gonna miss probably all of September, probably part of October as well. So they're not going to be off to a great start. J.J. Watt's retiring. I'm not exactly sure what that team's going to look like to start next season. I'm going to guess they're not going to look great. All right. And that's my thoughts and comments on teams that did not make the playoffs this year. Next up, Tyler's not here, but I'm going to recap our mid-season playoff predictions and compare them to what actually happened. All right. So in the AFC, me and him both had the Bills as the number 1 seed, which could have been possible if the Monday night game actually got played out, but it did not, unfortunately. And while I'm here, I'm very thankful to find out that DeMar got released from the hospital in Cincinnati, and I believe he went to a hospital in Buffalo to finish his recovery. But he looks and seems like he's doing pretty good, which is great. I thank God for that. Next up, me and him both had the Chiefs at the number 2 seed. Buffalo is the number 2 seed. So we flip-flopped the 1 and 2 picks there. For the number 3 seed, we both had the Baltimore Ravens. This was before Lamar Jackson got hurt. Yeah. Cincinnati actually was the 3 seed, so we got the right division there. We just didn't have the right team. 4 seed, Tyler and I both had the Tennessee Titans. We didn't, obviously, nobody expected them to fall off the way they did. So it ended up being Jacksonville at the 4 seed. The 5 seed, we both had the Dolphins. The Dolphins are actually the 7th seed. So far we have most of the teams right here, just not in the right order. The only ones we missed on were the Titans. Let's see. 5 seed and 6 seed. 6 seed, I had the Bengals. He had the Jets. Jets obviously missed the playoffs. Bengals are the 3 seed. And Baltimore is the 6 seed. So, getting there. And 7 seed, I had the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers actually ended up being the 5 seed. And like I said, Miami's the 7 seed. Tyler had the Bengals at the 7 seed. So I got 6 of the 7 teams right. He got 5 of the 7 teams right. So not terrible guesses. Next season we will have preseason predictions, mid-season predictions, and then the end of season. We obviously started late this year, so we couldn't have our preseason predictions. Let's see. As for the NFC, we both had the Eagles being the 1 seed, which was kind of obvious, and the Eagles are the number 1 seed. The 2 seed, we both had the Vikings. That did not happen. They became the number 3 seed, kind of fell off a little bit. And for the 3 seed, we both had the 49ers. 49ers are the 2 seed now. They flip-flop there. 4 seed, I had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is correct. He had the New Orleans Saints because my boy's a homer. And he loves his Saints and believes in them very much. It did not work out for him. 5 seed, I had the Cowboys. He had the Giants. Cowboys is right. Giants are the 6th seed rather. 6th seed, I had Seattle. He had the Cowboys. Dallas 5 seed. Seattle 7 seed. And for the 7th seed, I had the New York Giants. They were the 6th seed. And for his 7th seed, he had the Bucs. So I got all 7 of the teams right, just not in the right order. He got 6 of the 7 teams right. So not too bad of midseason predictions from us. Hopefully they are better next time. Let's see. And I think that is all I have for the podcast today. Hopefully on Thursday, Tyler's internet's working again, and we'll be back together for that. We will discuss playoff predictions and what we think of the playoff teams. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this. Hopefully this gets uploaded to the podcast channel at some point. I don't know if it's even possible, though. Yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy. Hit us up on our socials. We have Instagram. We have TikTok. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. Peace.